Hello, Kyle. Welcome to the Wasm Purvis Report. Damian Priest, we spoke a couple of days ago about what to do as a podcast, and you mentioned Damian Priest. I had forgot about him. Is he forgotten? Is the cashing gone too long that he's not done it? Or do you think people are just waiting?
I just think it's not in everyone's mindset because he still won't have a tag team champion with Finn Balor, and he's just been not been trying to cash in the briefcase because he's been messing around with Judgment Day still. So, but there is a chance he could cash in, and people are going to be surprised about it when it does happen. Whether they drop the titles, whenever that if it happens at WrestleMania, he could be the second person in history to cash in the briefcase at WrestleMania. So, I mean, there's I just think you should keep Damian Priest in the back of your mind because he could cash in the briefcase anytime. He still has until July, so there's still a chance he could cash in soon.
Okay, where does he cash? Obviously, you said where does he cash in? Who does he cash in on? Immediately, people would think the world champions. But he could cash in on any champ. So who do you see him cashing in on?
Um, I think it's going to be a world champions. So which one? I won't
Yeah.
be surprised if they. I won't be surprised if they'll do it. If Cody Rhodes wins the championship, he can cash in at he cashed in on Cody Rhodes. He got his moment, but he does it what he it's got taken away from him from Damian Priest. Very similar to when Sheamus did it to Roman Reigns. He when Reigns won the championship and Sheamus cashed in the same night. It could be the same situation where here's Cody Rhodes. He probably wins the championship, and then immediately Damian Priest music hit. He gets distracted and he gets taken out, and Damian Priest is the one walking out of WrestleMania as the Universal Champion. That's a real possibility.
Okay. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it is a possibility. We'll speak about my scenario in a minute, but let's talk about yours. If he cashes in on Cody, and it has to be Cody in order for him to become the main focus of the company, because Cody's so over as a face. If he cashes in on Cody, does he become the number one heel?
I would say so, and I think that would be pretty cool for Priest to be that because he's been, a back burner. He is a heel, but he's not like the number one heel. He's just a heel temper a back like a background heel, but to be like the number one person that everyone's going to be talking about, and I think it would be a great way to get Priest over, in a top spot in that way to finally see him as a main eventer because I truly think he is at this point. I think he's ready for that
He
responsibility to be the top guy. So why not?
he, he needs to be tested. If he can be the top guy. And the thing is, if he cashes in on Cody, would that mean Damian Priest will be moved to SmackDown alone, meaning not being with the Judgment Day?
Possibly, but they also could just draft the Universal Championship to Raw. They're not strangers of having uh flip flopping the champions to different brands. So that's a possibility. Or he could stay on Raw. But either way, I think so. Yeah, either one will work. I think.
Okay. I think I like the idea of him cashing in at WrestleMania. I think they're not going to do it because I think they're going to let Cody leave that night, leave WrestleMania with everyone smiling that likes him. Um, I think they're going to end it that way. But he could cash in the next night on Raw. Or are you saying it has to be WrestleMania?
Well, it doesn't have to be. I mean, it can still. You still have time. It could be WrestleMania. It could be even the next night on Raw. It could be what it can.
Yeah.
He get his moment and all this stuff for WrestleMania. Then the very next night in Raw is been taken away from him. So he was just a 1 day champion, and then that could work too. But I think so. It doesn't have to be a WrestleMania. It could just be. It could be. It could happen still later on before July. So
Okay. Cody and Priest, if he cashed in, obviously they would probably continue the feud. And I see them working probably a couple of months together. I see a good 2 or 3 matches out of them. I don't see the feud ending if Priest was to win. Do you see them working more matches following this?
A couple, I could say probably maybe 2. But then having Priest with, if he does win the championship, I could definitely see more, a lot of tension between Finn Balor and Damian Priest, and that's what I will really be super invested in. Honestly, so yes, they could do Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest if that was to happen, and they could have like a couple matches with each other. But then I'm just thinking for the rest of the year, a full-fledged feud between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I would be hyped for the rest of the year. That would do with Cody Rhodes. I don't know throughout that time, but that's my thought of how that will work out.
So originally, that's what I was thinking. Finn Balor having some involvement, but I think Finn Balor might mistakenly cost him Money in the Bank. So Damian Priest will cash in, but he's going to lose. We haven't had a Money in the Bank winner lose often. And I think the feud goes on where he works with Finn Balor and the whole story turns into maybe the destruction of the Judgment Day rather than Priest actually winning the title. It's exactly what you said, it's just without the title. Or do you think that scenario doesn't work?
That could be a great secondary feud on Raw to be, the main secondary feud on Raw could be Finn Balor and a grudge match that could work. I'm just thinking that I would like the title to be involved because I'm saying, I like Damian Priest. I like to see him cash in successfully and not be a failure, like how Austin Theories was last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so and I think for Priest's sake, honestly, I don't think he should be screwed off of being a world champion. I mean, he's already a former U.S. champion, current tag team champion. I think he's more willing, he's more deserving, I should say, world champion and have it be a successful cash in, and give him a chance to prove himself to be a one of the top guys in the company. He could talk. He has to look. Yes, he's older, but as far as I'm concerned, to me he looks like he's like in his 30s, not even in his 40s, or just this thing. Give him a chance, and then tell the story between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. That could be something that's something I can really get behind. Involving Cody Rhodes, I'm sure he's going to be involved even more as well. I think a feud between Priest and Rhodes should be cool too. That has never happened before. So,
what about triple threat? What about Cody versus Finn Balor versus Damian?
Yeah, I can get behind that. That could be a really cool match, and that could that's something I can really get behind to see. For sure, that'll be a fun match. Yeah.
Okay, so by mentioning a triple threat, I think obviously I think this feud's going to be a long one. I think Cody will be involved, as you said. It'll be Cody, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. I think the end result is going to be Finn Balor versus Priest, but in between we'll get a triple threat, and we'll probably get Balor and Cody, all sorts of different matches, which is exciting. I think it's definitely exciting. Are you excited by those matches?
Yeah, that could be that'd be fun television time to fill in the main event scene to make to have Raw or SmackDown, whichever show they're going to be on, really compelling television to watch for the spring and summer. So I can definitely see that.
Okay, do you agree that the end result would be Damian Priest versus Finn Balor if that feud was to happen the way we said it?
Yeah, that should be the end result. So Finn Balor, Damian Priest feud. That should be the end result ultimately.
Okay, if they were to have that match, I don't see it being a WrestleMania match. I see it being a SummerSlam match. Do you see that that's where it finishes?
Yeah, it was. I can. Yeah, I think it's going to be probably for a few months. It probably will end, or yeah, I think it probably will end at, or even I could see, or maybe it could start at SummerSlam and end like at the Royal Rumble, maybe something like that. I could see it. I don't think probably would end. I probably think it would. I could see it. Someone started at SummerSlam and ending at Royal Rumble, possibly. I mean, that's my thought.
So what? So do you have Cody and Damian work until SummerSlam with them hinting Finn Balor, and then Finn Balor and Damian Priest starts there? Is that how you're saying it?
Uh, Potentially, yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, I just feel like that I just feel like that that's more of a credible story for them to go. I could get behind between Finn Balor and Damian Priest and Cody Rhodes, even though it's like, because for Rhodes at the end of the day, it's just about him being a champion, and I think him. But now, with, and there could be potential feuds with Rhodes. Before, we talked about it before, about a potential Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes feud that's gonna be a thing. Have an AJ Styles feud with Rhodes. That's also gonna be a thing as well. But it's like that's like in the, so that could happen as well. But I just feel like, as for the story they've been telling, at least between uh Finn Balor and Damian Priest and the whole Judgment Day as a whole, this is very similar to like Damage Control, whereas like where when Io was Miss Money in the Bank and tried to cash in all throughout last year, and then and then finally been the champion, and then there was that slow burn between her and Bailey and all that stuff, and the way that happened. I could see a similar thing here with Damian Priest and Finn Balor going that similar direction. Now where does that fit Cody Rhodes? I'm not sure.
But Cody will what everyone wanted him to finish that story. That'll be done. Then it'll probably be time to move on by then, right?
But yeah, because they just want him to be the champion. They want him to just to take the title away from Roman Reigns. But then after that, then what type of thing? Because everyone's keep talking about that, to have him to finish the story, finish the story. All right, he wins the championship. Whatever. I think it should be starting a story. It doesn't make any sense to me. And so
What?
and then he's champion. Then what? So with Damian Priest factor into it, I think it would be more interesting and more compelling, at least for me to watch.
Okay, I think it will be the slow demise of the Judgment Day, but again, it could be a better story once Cody's out the way. Now, I don't mind Cody being involved in the feud, as I said, but I just want to throw you a little idea, right?
Yeah.
Let's say Damian Priest does cash in and he wins. He's a champ. The feud continues with Cody. Finn Balor also involved, but Finn Balor gets Money in the Bank. Finn Balor's Mr. Money in the Bank, while Damian Priest is a champ. What do you think of that scenario?
Yeah, that could also work. That could also work. It could have Finn Balor being the one being so be saying, I'm not gonna cash this in. You're the champion, you deserve this. I'm just gonna be cashing in on the other champion and all that stuff. And so that could be the same dynamic, just reversed with Finn Balor as Mr. Money in the Bank, while Damian Priest holds the championship, because that could work too. So I could definitely see that.
I actually love that idea. I didn't think of it till I was speaking to you. Would that interest you to be it done in that
Yeah,
way? Yeah.
yeah, because I
And
think
that,
it'll be good.
sorry,
As
carry on.
understand, I was just saying because I think it'll be good for Finn Balor, because him being finally one step closer to finally holding a world championship on the main roster since his injury in 2016. That's something I've been waiting for was for Balor to be a world champion, because he's got it taken away from him. He's been robbed because of his injury, and then I thought it would happen against Reigns and it didn't, and so I thought it would happen against Rollins and it didn't. So I think with Finn Balor winning Money in the Bank this year, if that's going to be the direction, will be something I can really get behind. And everyone's talking about Sami Zayn potentially winning the briefcase this year, but I could see Finn Balor being an early favorite in my mind already to win the briefcase
Uh,
this year. So I could
I
definitely see that.
The only reason I want Finn Balor to win, again, Sami Zayn I'll get onto in a minute. Okay, I think the biggest storyline is the destruction of the Judgment Day. And the Cody story will be done. So you need something fresh. And I think
Yeah.
rather than Sami Zayn working with Priest, I think the Judgment Day one is more interesting. Now, could Sami win Money in the Bank, hold on for a little while? That doesn't really interest me. That's just me, right? But if
Yeah, I'm not
Finn
interested in
Balor,
either, but
say, sorry, you're the same, yeah?
yeah, I'm not interested in Sami Zayn as a world champion. Personally, I don't see it, but so yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But let's say Finn Balor was Money in the Bank. It gets the focus back on him. And it's the same storyline with the Judgment Day. Both him and Damian Priest get noticed, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And
It's gonna be yeah.
you get a set of matches out of it. You involve Cody, and you've got a couple of months of matches between the three, yeah?
Yep.
Um, Now let's go to Sami Zayn. If he was to win Money in the Bank, we both just said we're not interested, but there might be people out there that are interested. Now, so let's just speak on that a second, right? Damian Priest versus
Yeah.
Sami Zayn. I've got no interest whatsoever on that. And if Damian Priest was to lose to Sami Zayn at this stage, I think it will be completely disrespectful to Damian Priest because it's Damian Priest's time. You want to speak on the Damian Priest Sami Zayn feud?
Yeah, I mean that's a TV match. I don't view that as a pay-per-view worthy match. I know that Sammy had his match with Roman Reigns, but just it's story behind it. He's been with Roman Reigns all throughout last year and 2 years ago when he joined with the Bloodline stuff like that. But with Damian Priest and Sami Zayn, to me that's a TV match. That's not a pay-per-view worthy match to me because Sami Zayn to me will always be seen as a mid-card champion to me and a tag team champion.
Yeah.
It's just I don't. So if they go down that path, I see that happening on TV, not on paper. This will be not good. So not interested.
I'm exactly like you. I think I don't exactly when we were talking about it, I thought TV match, right? Not even a TV main event, just a TV middle of the show match, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's what it should be. Um, I mean, by all means, they could still do it. Sami saying, going for Damian Priest, but don't have Damian Priest lose. That's what I'm saying. But again, if it was, I don't know, let's give this scenario. Sami Zayn versus Damian Priest at SummerSlam. Honestly, I think that's going to be crap. I mean, what do you think as a SummerSlam match?
I mean, yeah, that I don't really. It's Sami Zayn is not at that level to me in my mind to feel like he's going to be worthy enough to be fate to be. I don't see him in the main event scene at all in that way to face the world champion at some place like SummerSlam. Very
Yeah.
similar to very similar to Liv Morgan. Being factored into Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. I mean, I like Liv, but her and Rhea can have a. I could well. I know I've got a little bit off topic a little bit, but it's just similar to Liv Morgan, where it's like people want her to get added to WrestleMania, her to be factored into Becky and Rhea, which I think is unnecessary, and I think they could hold off and do Rhea and Liv later on, in or later on this year. That could happen at SummerSlam. I could see, but when it comes to Sami Zayn though, for right now, I don't see him in that position where he is in that spot where he'll get a match for a world championship at some place like SummerSlam. I don't see it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Let me throw in another wild card, right? Let's say the Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Cody stuff is all happening exactly as we said it, but Dominic wins Money in the Bank. Now, there has been factions where the lower member would would challenge the top member, right? Now, Rhea could be like behind Dominic, and then you have Damian Priest as a champ. Dominic heavily going to be over as a heel anyway. He is right now. How would you feel about Dominic winning Money in the Bank, and then Finn Balor also being in the faction, and then Damian Priest possibly a triple threat at some? I mean, that would be a WrestleMania match. I think Priest versus Balor versus Dominic. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of Dominic being a world champion, I'm like, well, I mean, I know,
He
but
wouldn't.
to
He
get
wouldn't
to
win.
get heat, that, huh?
He wouldn't win. He would just be involved in the feud.
Oh, sure. I guess that probably will happen. Well, I'd be interested in that. Not really, if Dominic's a factor. I think it would make sense storyline wise, but I won't be all that invested. So it could happen. I just won't care. I just think
Okay,
it'd be a
let me
waste of
just say,
time.
really see. I'm opposite there. I think Dominic would gain so much interest. What is it that? Is it just because it's not believable to you that Dominic could be a world champ, or are you just not into Dominic at all?
Mixture of both. Where for me, I don't like Dominic to me is still. I can, he could be a mid card champion. He can be the IC champion or United States champion. But as a world champion right now, I don't see it. I know he's getting massive heat and people don't care much about him, but I can't envision um Dominic as a world champion right now. That I
Yeah.
can find really believable for him carrying the company as a world champion. I don't see it. Now probably will
Okay.
be a short term, but still, I don't see it.
Okay. What about if you add in Balor? What about that triple threat? All the Judgment Day male member. Well, actually, I missed that, JD. Okay, three of the Judgment Day members in a triple threat. With the Balor feud with Priest going on, this is just a bump in the road that includes Dominic. Would the triple threat interest you at all?
I'm gonna be fine. I think Dominic is a really good wrestler. I enjoy majority of his matches. I think the only like great match I remember him having was with his father at WrestleMania last year. That's pretty much it. Everything else has been kind of been like not all that interesting. So maybe in this it could be interesting with having all three of them in the same match together. So
Yeah.
that would be somewhat interesting to me to watch because so far I haven't been invested in Dominic's even feuds even because it's not been all that interesting. He's just been just a rag doll when everyone else feel like they're being more serious. They're more serious, and Dominic is kind of like the comedy act, which
Yeah.
I can't get behind really.
Okay. I disagree with you, but I do agree with somewhat what you're saying. Okay. You probably are not going to like the next choice because I class this person as comedy, R-Truth. And I could see him working with Damian Priest, but does that bring the Damian Priest run down immediately because people might see it as a joke? What do you see about
Yeah,
R-Truth working with? Yeah,
Yeah, I don't see that either. Because again, that would be very very similar to that'd be really similar to when Truth faced John Cena in 2011. It was like it was an unnecessary match deal. It was a one off, and it was like kind of like a waste of time. And so I think it's I don't want to. I know they've been having hit. They've been having history now. They've been going back and forth for the last few months, but I think that'll be like a one off match, which that's fine. But I don't think Truth is in that people won't take that seriously enough, and it's just a one off, which I guess is fine. But that's just how I see it.
okay. In regards to one more thing, then Damian Priest, if he was to get that SmackDown title off Cody, Universe title off Cody immediately, uh, people may compare his run immediately to Roman Reigns. And I say if you compare any run to that, you're immediately going to look low. Could that go against Damian Priest?
Um, I just think that won't be fair to him. I think he should be. I think whoever is the new Universal Champion, they're always going to be comparing to Roman Reigns, which is kind of an unfair thing, because they're not going to have the type of run that Reigns has had. So it's just in an unfair situation and it's gonna have to move on and tell a whole new story with a new person as champion and a new person that person is gonna be feuding with. They're never going to duplicate what Roman Reigns has done um in the last few years as Universal Champion. I think that it's just he whoever takes the title away from Roman Reigns is gonna always be looked at like that, but they're just gonna have to move on and move and probably and maybe some people will just be happy that there's this new champion, and we can move on to be some type of normalcy of where you don't have to be a champion for that long period of time. I'm used to a
Yeah,
champion being. I'm used to a champion being champion for at least a year, at least, and then them
yeah,
dropping the belt in the next couple of months or so. Like Rhea Ripley, for example, right now she won the title last year at WrestleMania. I think there's a chance she could retain at WrestleMania against Becky. I mean, there's a chance Becky could win the title back. It's still in. So whatever. So that match, I'm kind of if I'm kind of in between. I kind of don't care who wins because I'm a fan of both women. But Rhea could definitely retain, and she could go off being a babyface version of as champion because she's getting big reactions. People love Rhea Ripley, so I could see that lasting a whole in the next couple of months, and then probably drop it at SummerSlam. So it could be something where they could be champion for for an entire year and a couple of months, and then drop it at the next big pay per view or whatever that is, whether that's SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, or
yeah.
something like that. So it doesn't have to
Okay,
be for a long time. So.
okay. And then the next question I got for you then is if Damian Priest wants to win, as you said it, and if he doesn't feud with Finn Balor or within the Judgment Day, and his feud with Cody's done on the SmackDown roster, who do you think could work with him?
I can see AJ Styles. LA Knight's probably going to still be a factor. Probably. I mean, I think he'll probably be U.S. champion by that time. But
Yeah,
that's also a possibility. Of course, Randy Orton. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and then I guess whoever they're going and Braun Breaker, he's now on SmackDown. He'd have to be a big factor into being a world champion. So yeah, Braun Breaker for sure as well.
Yeah, so I think again he could work with all those people you said. I reckon his first one will probably be Randy Orton. If it's not Cody, if it's not Finn Balor, just because of the star power, and I think Damien Priest gets to win. And would that interest you? Or is that just a TV match?
No, that could be a pay per view match. I could definitely see that as a pay per view match. That can probably happen like at Money in the Bank because at least could see that as a pay per view match for sure. Um, yeah, I could definitely see that. That could be really entertaining.
Then what about Rey Mysterio as Damien Priest?
Again, that's another match I can get behind. For a a backlash or something if they want to. So, that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be something I could.
Okay, there's something I really want to see. I don't know your take on it because we've never spoken to this person ever, even on the spaces, even in the podcast. I enjoyed Damien Priest's match with Bad Bunny last year. For in a world title scenario, I mean, just to put Bad Bunny's name all over it, I think that goes to another level. I'm not saying Bad Bunny wins. I'm just saying you do the match. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, it's a possibility. They did do that match last year. That was a great match last year. That was really entertaining. I mean, and every time I see Bad Bunny now, it's been great with either him teaming with Priest or them facing off against each other last year. So that could be a thing. I can see that happen. He could come back again to face Priest for the championship this time. I don't know if I kind of doubt it because I already did that already. Priest lost actually, so I guess they could do the rematch of that. So that actually, yeah, that actually could work actually.
So
I can see that happening.
just wanted to talk about their first match a second, obviously that only match, because we never really spoke about it. I thought that match was absolutely brilliant. It did everything it needed to do. Both men looked great. It was a great match. I was really happy with that. What are your thoughts? Like, were you happy with it? Did you rewatch it back? Do you think more could have been done? What do you think?
Yeah, so I recently watched it back, sometime like back in like December. I watched it back, and yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good. I was like, it really should have been the main event. I still don't know why it wasn't. I thought it was tailor made to be the main event. It kind of should have been, um, and but yeah, I thought it was a great match. It was a great spotlight on Damian Priest because it was to the point for Priest where he was off WrestleMania last year, which I thought that was beyond beyond stupid. And then it was his moment to shine, and then that's where he was in the position then last year to be Mr. Money in the Bank and be seen as the next level as the world champion. So a year later, to them go back to that potential match between Priest and Bad Bunny and have Damian Priest get his win back. I could definitely see that. That could be a big attraction match for an upcoming pay per view, whatever that's going to be, whether it's SummerSlam or something like that. You know, I could definitely see that happening for sure.
So I mean, if I was to do it, if we're going with the story exactly as we said, I say 1 year later, Backlash, do it again. Backlash is in France for the first time. I
Yeah,
don't know how popular Bad Bunny is there. I know last time it's in Puerto Rico, but still, it's going to be a big pay per view.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and you agree, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And we
It'd
both
be
enjoyed the match. Okay, you go.
I was just saying that I just think it's going to be another big atmosphere feel towards it. I mean, it's not going to be this the same reaction like it was last year in Puerto Rico, but it's France. It's going to be, you know, I don't, in my knowledge, I don't remember a time WWE has run a show in France. So it's gonna be a big atmosphere. 1 year later, the same pay per view. This time, a world championship is involved, and they go at it one on one for like a one off. That'd be a great attraction. 1 year later for
No,
Priest and Bad Bunny.
I think it's first time ever they're going France. I'm pretty sure about that. In regards to the match, obviously the rematch makes sense because the history is there, but now you got a world title involved and you give them the main event. Because
Yeah,
again,
and
the match they had
sorry,
last year. One second, Cole. The match they had last year, I think, could have easily been the main event. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think this time would be the main event this time, which they will be a deserving. So yeah, I could definitely see that main event scene, and then it'll be a good full circle moment. He lost to Bad Bunny last year. He got his win back this year. Be a cool circle moment for Damian Priest.
Yeah, exactly. One of my concerns is, say, if they were to give away the same match but not a backlash at, say, a crown jewel, because I always feel the crowd seems flat and weak when you go to Saudi. I think it has to be done in front of a hot crowd. It wouldn't work in that scenario. Say if it was done at crown jewel, do you think it'd be the same?
Um, it won't be the same. I think it'll be people probably be excited, but it's not going to be the same atmosphere and feel towards it because they just. I mean, lately the Saudi shows have been more entertaining to watch as pay per views lately.
Yeah.
Um, since fans came back since COVID, the Saudi shows have been really more entertaining than they ever were. So they're doing something right ever since fans came back. So that could happen. I don't really know if that's really wise because a lot of people don't watch the Saudi shows. They watch the regular pay per views in general.
Yeah.
So I think it's more safe to do it in France than it is to do it in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, one more. I agree with you for the reasons you said, but also I do think the crowd's flat there. It has got better. You're right. The cards have got better, but I think that's not the correct scenario to do the match. Okay, do you think Damian Priest was Bad Bunny definitely could happen at any pay-per-view. I think you could even stick it on WrestleMania. Or do you think that's too big?
That'd be a good attraction. I just don't think it's just. I don't think it'll be believable to happen at somewhere like WrestleMania because it's like, it's just he's he's definitely a he's definitely one of the best celebrity acts that's been in the company that I've really enjoyed for the most part. But some place like a WrestleMania should be to someone current on the roster and not to a celebrity, even though he's been very impressive. I still think it should be to a current star at some place like WrestleMania for Priest to lose the championship to a current star at some place like WrestleMania if he remains champion from that for that long.
Okay, so we've been speaking a lot about the SmackDown side. Let's say if he wins the Raw title, before you comment on that, tell me how would he cash it in? Would it be at WrestleMania, or would it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't even know what the main event's going to be. But on paper, at the minute, it's Drew versus Seth, right?
Yeah,
But that
that
could
match
change.
they announced it too that match is happening on night 2.
What, Drew versus
So
Seth?
that's what. Yeah, that they made that official on Monday when they said that the
Yeah,
match is happening night 2.
92. Okay, yeah. So could he cash in there?
Yeah, he could. I can see a situation where, again, it's very similar to Rose. You have uh Drew McIntyre win the World Heavyweight Championship. He gets his moment, and then
Yeah,
Priest comes in and screws up his moment. Then he turns back to being a babyface. I don't know if they'll do that because I think he's been more in shading as a heel. Drew McIntyre, I'm
yeah,
talking about, and I think I just think that's a possibility. But if you want to keep Drew McIntyre as a heel, I think have him win the championship and have his moment to be a champion for the fans. I think he deserves that. I think it'd be kind of a crappy thing for him
yeah.
to get cashed in on and not get him have his moment and it only lasts for only a couple minutes or so. So it could happen. I just don't see it happening.
Okay, my concern is that obviously, again, I don't think the Raw title would be the right place for reasons you also said. But I think if he did cash in on the Raw title, no matter who was the Raw champ, it would immediately be a downer because people see the SmackDown title as the main title. I think I think it would already be a blow to Damian Priest to win the Raw title because I think people consider it second best. Or do you think no, that's not true?
I don't really view it as second best, honestly. There's been 2 champions before in the past. When I started watching wrestling in 2008, 2009, it was the WWE champion on one show and the world champion on the other show. So I never really viewed second best. I just think it's just the perception of it because you have someone like Roman Reigns, the champion for for years, and then Seth Rollins is champion, and it's like what, and I think what makes it different. People think that Rollins is a clown. He's not taking it seriously. And he's not focusing on Drew McIntyre. If Drew McIntyre would have won it, would have won it, I think in people's mind he's going to take the belt more seriously. He is a heel. People are invested in Drew McIntyre, but it's still going. It's like it doesn't really. So the only reason why people think it's a second view it as a secondary championship is because of the length of how long Roman Reigns has been champion for, and then the fact that you have Seth Rollins been treated like a clown and being talked down talked down upon by Reigns and by now The Rock. So Rollins is getting destroyed on the micro. That's the perception of the not being all that. Rollins is not interesting. So, but if it's on Drew
Okay.
McIntyre, probably a different feel to it. I think.
Okay, again, I agree. Seth is a big name, but he's not the right guy to be the champ right now. They need somebody else. And Drew is a good option. Obviously, we spoke a lot about Drew in our very first podcast together.
Yeah.
My concern is Drew hasn't signed a contract yet. Rumor, right? If he hasn't signed the
Yeah.
contract, they might not even give him that title, which opens up the door for Damian Priest. Because I think the only way Damian's getting that title, if Drew stays, I think Drew's getting it. But if Drew's not staying, then I definitely think Damian's getting the title on that night, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Again, it's up in the air what's actually happening with Drew. But going back to Seth and Damian as a pay-per-view match also doesn't interest me. So I mean, who else would you put him on the Raw side? Let's say Drew's going. Seth's not wrestling like he used to because he's injured. Who do you put Damian against?
Again, it'd probably
Okay.
be Finn Balor. I had to think it'll be Finn Balor again. It'll be who else is doing on runs?
Jey Uso?
Currently in that. Yeah, Jey Uso for sure. Yeah, Jey Uso definitely. I can definitely see Jey Uso in that world championship picture. Yeah, that's a good. That's really Jey
And
Uso
it's
for sure. He's super over with the crowd.
fresh, right?
Yeah, he's fresh. People are into Jay. They are taking him. They're taking him more and more as a singles wrestler. They've been uh, great feud and a potential great moment for Jey Uso if he's what to be world heavyweight champion later on this year. Let's say, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, I think, is lined up. Same way I think Priest is lined up. So it could happen later in the year. Okay, just going back to Priest, and obviously we mentioned Raw, SmackDown possibilities. What about NXT World Title? They have worked NXT before. I know it's the North American Championship with Dominic, but could Priest look at becoming the NXT champ, or do you think definitely not?
I don't think so. There, I just don't think they're gonna have. I mean, I know they had Dominic become North American champion. They had Becky become NXT Women's Champion, but I just think it was just because in the Becky thing there was no direction for her to go in after Fino and Trish. They weren't gonna do Rhea Ripley right away. They wanted to have them separated as long as they can until this moment this year. And then when it comes to Dominic, it's just been for him to give him a championship because he's been doing great work within his character, but they didn't want to take the title away from Gunther right now, or even take the title away from even Logan Paul, even because didn't really make any sense to do right then for Dominic. So for him to be the North American champion at that time was the right move. But in this situation with Damian Priest cashing in on the NXT championship, I don't see it. It doesn't really make any sense. Doesn't really fit Priest's character. I think he'll go after either the World Heavyweight Championship or the Universal Championship.
Now, do you think? Okay, I understand he'll go after Raw or SmackDown. Do you think they might do a tease where he does like they do work NXT, even though it might not happen, just to get NXT more interest through Damian Priest and Judgment Day?
Sure, they could tease it. I guess so. Like maybe like in May or June, I could see like a tease of him cashing in, and if he's still holding that briefcase and it's getting closer to the expiration date, he'll probably go on NXT in like May or June to threaten the NXT champion, whoever that is at that time. And but won't do it. It'll be like a tease.
Okay, what about a lower title then? It's not really low, but the person I'm thinking obviously has made the title mean a lot. What about Gunther? What about Damian Priest being Gunther? But this would mean Damian Priest wouldn't even be in the main event scene or the world title scene. But we'll get to that in a second. But just tell me what you think about him beating Gunther, and then we'll go into his ranking.
That I mean that could happen. I really don't see it happening. Think briefcase as a whole was always designed to be going after a world champion, not going after a secondary champion, because it's just it's not normal and not and doesn't really it makes the contract make I don't say makes it look weak, but makes it feel just I don't know. I just don't see it. It's always been viewed as you win the briefcase, go after the world champion. and you go after a secondary champion, it's like I don't know, you have already, he's already been he's already been United States champion twice, and so why go after, or maybe it was once, I remember. So, but I just think at this point for Damian Priest in particular, I think it's time for him to be a world champion because he's already been a secondary champion and a tag team champion. I think it's for Damian Priest in particular, he's ready to be a world champion and not go after a secondary championship. I just think until
I
now.
agree. I agree. I agree what you're saying. He should be going for one of the major titles. But what I'm saying, what if he goes for that Intercontinental title? He beats Gunther. Do you think? Do you think it's a waste? Is it a waste?
I think so. I think it'll be a waste. I just think it's just unnecessary. I don't see Priest being the one to defeat Gunther. Honestly, in general, I don't see him being
Okay.
Priest. I see him being somebody else in entirety, whether he has that briefcase or not. So
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Okay. So I mean, I do think it's a possibility if the company doesn't see him as a main event player, then I definitely see him working with Gunther. Now, this bit ties into what you said. Now, you said Money in the Bank was always for a world title. It should be, but over the recent years, it's not always been for the world title. Let's say he doesn't win the world title then. Let's say he doesn't win a mid card title. Let's say he just has a failed cash in and he remains at the ranking he is now, just another talent on the roster. Because we haven't really spent too much. What if he doesn't win?
If he doesn't win, I can see it because it's because Finn Balor cost him. They go either way. If it can have it, he can have him win the briefcase and have him have the tension between Priest and Balor, or he can lose the briefcase because of Finn Balor, and that could still be a tension between Priest and Finn Balor even more as well. So they can go either direction with that,
Yeah.
and that's how their feud can progress even more if that does happen. So.
Okay, so we spoke about obviously there's lots of links to Balor in our conversation, right? Now, let's obviously that keeps him out of the world title picture, but doesn't give him a main event. He doesn't get that run as the champ, but he gets a feud with Balor. I think that's not fair on Damian Priest. When you say if he doesn't get the run,
Yeah, I think Damian Priest is deserving to be champion, to be a world champion. So if it's a fail cash in, I think that'll be really a shame, honestly. So I don't see that. I really see a successful cash in, honestly, at this point with Damian Priest. Yeah, if it ends up being a failure, I'll be like, come on, dude. What?
okay, so let me throw this at you then. So this ties into a bit of what you were saying, but more on my side than yours, right? So
Yeah.
when we were talking about, we were trying to think of what to do for a podcast. You mentioned Damian Priest. I had forgot about him. Do you think there may be a lot of people that have forgot about him, or is it just me?
No, I think it's a lot of people. It's just like it's like, oh yeah, well, David Priest is still has that. So he's still one half of a tag team of the tag team champions. So
Yeah.
so that's why you didn't see him as a tag team champion still, because he is. But he still has that briefcase. That's why a lot of people not really thinking about it, because he's not teasing a cash in. He's just not really. He's not a factor into. He's not a factor into Seth Rollins. He's not a factor into Roman Reigns right now. He's just doing his own thing, and so it's just in the back burner. So that's why a lot of
So
people
we're gonna
have forgotten about him.
So are we just gonna get a shock then? Originally, what you said earlier on, just a shock cash in.
I think so. Yeah, because no one will no one would expect it. People would have. There may be some people who remember that he could cash. There's a chance for Damian Priest to cash it, but a lot of people will forgot about him because he's actor into that scene. So then when it fight, I feel like
Yeah,
he's holding that briefcase is like be a big shock for a lot of people.
exactly. And I think that's that we want that as wrestling fans. We want to be shocked. For me to forget
Right.
about him, obviously, I was surprised I forgot about him. But the same was happening with Austin Theory last year. People started to forget, and in the end, it just got wasted away, right?
Yeah, I just feel like for Austin Theory, it's been an unfortunate thing. Had the World Heavyweight Championship existed in 2022, it would have probably would have worked. But since it didn't exist yet, it was just the wrong guy to hold that briefcase because he just wasn't ready yet in that spot to be a world champion quite yet. He's still pretty young.
Okay, what if I mean, I rather he went to SmackDown and won the title there. Not won, so he becomes the champ eventually, but ends up on SmackDown. That's what I would want with Damian Priest. But it would mean that he might pull away from the Judgment Day for some time. Or do you think it doesn't work that way?
Um, hmm. I I don't know. I can see all of them going to the same show again. And
Yeah.
then just do a very similar thing with Judgment Day that you did with Damage Control, where you had Bailey get screwed by EO, and now she's gonna probably take the title away from EO at WrestleMania. So be a similar thing here, where you have all members of Judgment Day to SmackDown, and they can start to tease between Balor and Damian, and then they split off, and then we'll see the even the rest of them, even with where does JD Mandela stand with who's he going to be behind him? Would probably be Finn Balor. Rhea Ripley how's he going to factor into that? Is he going to be more distracted to that, heading into feuding with Becky? Because I think they're going to be feuding with each other, Becky and Rhea. I'm saying for the rest of the year as well. I'm thinking, and so she's going to be distracted by the Judgment Day stuff, and so it can be a major it can be multiple shows surrounding the Judgment Day's breakup and all that stuff, very similar to what they do with Damage Control currently right now.
Okay. So if Finn Balor's name is and Judgment Day is come up a lot, if Damien wins, do you think Finn Balor might be the guy to dethrone him as champ? Then you can keep the title going. You can keep the feud going even if he loses the title. So what I'm trying to say is you have Damian Priest run with the Judgment Day being behind him, teasing Balor and Damian, but you do nothing. Eventually, you get Balor and Damian. Balor wins, and then you continue that feud where
Yeah,
as Balor.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I just like I said earlier, that I will love to see Finn Balor as a world champion, and he got robbed because of his injury. So him being a world champion and him feuding with Damian Priest and going back and forth, that is something I can get behind. And finally, Finn Balor finally gets this moment of being a world champion that he got robbed off of. So I would definitely be behind that 1000%.
Yeah. Now, Balor and Damian Priest can work a good match. Do you remember? It's quite a while ago now. Do you remember NXT in your house?
Yeah, yeah.
Not the recent one, but when they worked
In
together.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
It was a while ago, but that's the
That was a
match
great match.
Yeah, great match, underrated, right?
Yeah, that was a match that got me thinking about Damian Priest being one of the top stars when he faced Finn Balor that on that show. I was like, wow, Damian
Yeah.
Priest is really great. It's like, wow, I didn't never really knew news about it before. So
It's fun,
it really
it's
go ahead.
funny that it's funny that you say that because I was never the reason I remember that match so clearly is because that's the match that made me think Damian Priest can be something. Not a world champ. I just said he can be something. But now you're saying you got the same sort of vibes from that match as well, right?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
they did a great job. And a couple now, both guys are in a different position, especially Damian Priest. I think we that match will happen again, but it's going to be so much better this time when it's done.
Yeah, yeah. And also too, this would be in front of a crowd. So a crowd in in different cities. Because last time it was during it was around, less fans, all that stuff. That was local to Florida. So this time would be a full packed audience because you look at WWE right now, it's really hot. People are selling out, they're selling out Raws and SmackDowns does the pay-per-views every single week.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, I think, like a full sold out crowd and getting behind the feed between Balor and Priest. I think that'll be something that could definitely be what, and I definitely want to see that. That's something that that's really, they're both deserving to have that type of space and and atmosphere for a world championship feud.
Okay, let's say Damian Priest does not cash in at WrestleMania. What's he gonna do at WrestleMania? With the tag team title match, and that's it.
Um, yeah, I think they'll probably lose the tag team championships at WrestleMania, and then maybe they'll just hold off and wait until the Raw after Wrestle. Yeah, so maybe they don't do anything at WrestleMania. They'll just hold off to the Raw after Mania type of thing. So
Okay. One of my concerns is that there might be too much going on at WrestleMania for him to be involved, and that what is going on might carry over to Raw and SmackDown. It might be too main event heavy to even involve him at this stage, right? Would you say that's fair to say?
yeah, yeah, probably.
Okay,
Yeah, because I'm
that main
thinking
event.
too. Because so go
Yeah,
ahead.
go on. There you
I
go.
was gonna okay. I was gonna say that because it's gonna because pre and I'm sorry, I've Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. That's a whole new rivalry that's going to happen, and then we don't really know McIntyre's involvement and where if he's going to stay or not, and Seth Rollins is going to take some time off because of his injury. And there's that. The old Cody Rhodes, um, uh, Roman Reigns situation. That's pretty much going to be primarily on SmackDown. But I also think there is a draft that probably happen after WrestleMania, possibly, or throughout. And so anyone could go anywhere. I don't think they're gonna stay on. So it's more of a chance of having Rhodes staying on Raw, possibly, and having so I don't know if that will happen. But the draft is gonna be is something that also has to have a factor into it because you don't know where anyone's going to be going. I think that's
Okay.
where it's like an unknown.
Okay, again, like you're saying, anything can happen. We're speaking on the current circumstances, but anyone could go anywhere and anything could happen. It's good. It's interesting. Okay, so we're speaking quite a bit on David Priest, linked to Finn Balor and his Money in the Bank. Have you got anything else you want to say about David Priest?
No, I think we kind of covered it for now. That was just really my thought because it's been as I've been just thinking about this whole thing because David Priest has been in the back burner and everyone is so hype about this tag team match and Rhodes and Reigns and McIntyre and Rollins, and yet here's Damian Priest still having this briefcase, and it's like no one's really talking about him. He's in the back burner because everyone's distracted about the bigger stars. So kind of glad we had this conversation about David Priest because there's a lot of different directions they can go, and he could be a big time. He could be. I think he's definitely going to be the breakout star this year. And it's going to be a great year for Priest. I feel like this year because I think he's going to be the one that people is going to be talking about a year later because a lot of people are not talking about him now. That we could be the first people to say that we called this about David Priest a year ago. So I'm glad I came up with this thought. So I have to say about Priest.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so
I'm
far.
guilty too of one of those people who I forgot about him. So I am glad we've done this. We spoke about it. and it will be interesting to see what happens moving forward. We'll see, and I hope he does win, but it all depends how it turns out. But yeah, Kyle, thanks for being involved again, and I will see what happens, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay?
Yep. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, bye.